Icewind Dale has become trapped in a perpetual winter. Ferocious blizzards make the mountain pass through the spine of the world exceedingly treacherous. And this land has not felt the warmth of the sun in over 2 years. In fact, the sun no longer appears above the mountains. Not even what should be the height of summer. In this frozen tundra, darkness and bitter cold reign as king and queen. Most Dale residents blame Ariel, the Frostmaiden, the god of winter's wrath. The shimmering aurora that weaves across the sky each night is said to be her doing. Dale folk live in a scattering of settlements known as 10 towns. The drop-off in caravans coming from the south and travel between settlements in this never-ending winter has left everyone feeling isolated. Although each town has resolved to appease the Frostmaiden with sacrifices of one kind or another, no respite from winter's fury seems forthcoming. For adventurers such as yourselves, Pentown is a place to test one's mettle, and in the spirit of heroes who've come before, leave one's mark on this frigid, blighted land. Our journey begins in the very small town of Dugan's Hole, with a rough population of about 50 individuals. The town is made of the wood from nearby trees, and several of the buildings appear to be made out of old retired ships, some flipped upside down and carved out into houses. The party is now entering the town, and as they do, I would like them to go around and describe their characters, starting with Kruegall.
Kruegall is a silver dragonborn. He's got some spines that go from dark to light that look like his hair. He wears a white fur hooded cloak made from a yeti pelt. Under that, he has a blue tabard that's open down the front with a belt, and under that, woolen clothing. And he's barefoot. Crossbow strapped to his back, and he is a bit smaller than any other dragonborn that you can remember seeing.
Kruegall is a veteran of this area. He's kind of well known as a traveler of sorts. Going from Kruegall, I would like to talk about Jadel.
Jadel is tall for the race of halflings. He is very docile and composed, though his background may not suggest that. He walks with confidence. There is a bit of resistance. He's holding something back, and he wants to think that it doesn't show, but it pops out from time to time. He tries to keep the strong face. Wears some vestment that he had received from his monastery, and he there's a couple of articles you may see are not as clean as the armament that came from the monastery, like his shoes are a bit tattered. He's got a short sword that he wears on his back. It's not as advantageous, he knows, but he likes the way it looks.
Nice. Moving on from the shortest of the bunch, go to the tallest. Koda, Winterhorn.
Koda is a Minotaur. He's a big brown fur, brown eyes with white horns. Slightly larger than other Minotaurs. He's about 7 feet tall. He washed up on a beach near Waterdeep. A family had helped him regain consciousness. He then made his way north due to the fact that the lord of their land had found out. The lord sent soldiers, and in that, a couple of the soldiers killed the family. Koda retaliated, killing the soldiers. He made his way north with the only possession he had washed up with was a amulet.
Did he tell us all this already, as we've been traveling together?
I would say he has. The party itself has met up in East Haven. Different things have been going on in your guys' characters' lives, but...
Because Kruegall hasn't told you anything about his past.
Yes. So you guys met in East Haven, and along the journey, you might have learned this about him. Him Koda, being a Minotaur, is a very, very rare creature. In fact, you've never seen one, either of you. And so it would make sense that he would have shared it with you on the journey. So Koda came from Waterdeep, and he ventured all the way north to escape the evil tyrants and knights that were after him. Icewind Dale, as everyone knows, is a refuge for those who are on the run or, criminal elements that want to get away with murder and stuff. So this was the perfect area for him to hide out. That being said, East Haven comes with a lot of rumors and different things that you guys have experienced. And you've heard recently that the small town of Dugan's Hole is very strange. People have not been keeping in touch with Dugan's Hole, and anyone that goes there seems to disappear. The party, as they begin to enter town, and they look around, they can see two unusual onlookers. Two small human males with several apparent deformities. One has a very unnatural looking face. Something just seems off about it. The other, a set of teeth that don't appear to be covered by any lips. They are looking at the party as they begin to trudge into town, and they are smiling, giggling. The shorter of the two boys turns to his friend and exclaims, "They have arrived!" The taller, much more frail child smiles at all of you and responds, "Come, we will tell the elder." The two children, before you can get a word in, turn tail and begin to run towards the central building that leads to the docks. The entire party looks left and right, and you can hear the slamming of doors and the boarding of windows. The end of the 4-hour light is vastly approaching, and your bodies are beginning to feel the cold sting of the Icewind Dale wind. All the lights in the town appear to be missing, and you can see no burning chimneys, except for one building, stationed in the center of the pier, a building with the words, "Fish and Mead." As a party, what would you like to do?
I'm wondering if I caught anything insightful from those two children that ran away.
Go ahead and roll me an insight check.
I don't like the look of those fellows.
While you're doing that,
20.
20, nice. The children were standing there for a while, staring at you. It seems strange that two children, instead of playing with and running around town, would be standing out in the cold, especially at this hour. Almost as if they were expecting someone or something to come down this road. The town itself is coated in snow, the buildings littered with it, the snow mounds almost going to the top of these buildings. You feel very unsettled.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
It's very strange.
Something about those children don't add up.
I do know that I am getting cold, though. It's quite frigid.
It is cold.
The children ran off to the speaker, the house that's in the
one
middle.
The one lit.
Yes. So as you're looking at this map, the building that has the sign "Fish and Mead," that's like swinging in the cold, creaky wind, is that building at the end of the pier.
The one that's sort of in the very center.
Yes. And the building at the very beginning of the pier is the so-called speaker's house. Every town in 10 towns has a speaker. You have never met this one in particular.
We would recognize that as the speaker's house.
Yes.
Were they expecting us?
Well, if we were using some bit of logic, we could say that maybe we should talk to the speaker.
I think talk to speaker a good idea.
I think we should do some recon first.
Approach with caution, I always say.
Let's check out the building at the end of the pier. I think we should look in there, see if we can see any of the residents.
Yes,
If
I think we should.
they look like those children, I'm afraid to look at them.
Something doesn't feel right about them, and they went to the speaker's house before us. There may be some foul play.
They say that we were expected.
Were we expected?
They,
I think not.
DM, did they say something to that effect?
They did say that.
Yeah.
I remember they said that, but how would they be expecting us? No one has heard from this town in how long? 2 months?
It's been a
Children.
very long time.
It's been a
the
while.
The
How
children
would they
act
expect
like
us?
They know us.
Exactly what makes my spine stand up.
So, you guys begin to walk towards the building at the end of the pier. Yeah.
Yep.
As you do, you slowly creep forward and start walking towards it, and you can see the occasional person looking through the shuttered windows. Several individuals kind of recoil at the sight of you as you make awkward eye contact with them.
Something is not right here, friends.
You walk towards the pier, and as you look to your left, you can see that the lake of Red Waters is frozen solid. The 4 rowboats that are adjoined on the lake are actually halfway in and frozen into the water. At the very end of the pier, you can see 2 figures kind of hunched over. In the middle of the cold, just wind brushing against their back as they sit there. The meadery that you're going to, you can see inside one of the lights dims.
Someone concerned that they see us?
Don't think they've seen us. They have their backs to us. I have an uneasy feeling.
Seems that there might be some watchful eyes in the town.
They may be reacting to our big friend.
You are unique.
Yes, I am.
But I like you okay.
I like you guys too.
We have spent some time together. It seems like we might be looking at something interesting here. These children, they don't seem natural.
I think children mistake us for somebody else.
They seemed sure.
I don't know how they know us. I don't know them.
How far out are the gentlemen on the pier? At the very end, near the boats?
Very end of the pier, just kind of huddled over. Doesn't appear that they're fishing or anything.
But they're on the water side, where the boats are.
Yes, at the very end of the pier, right where those 2 rowboats are, the bigger ones. Actually, those 2 are actually ships that are frozen into the water.
Mm-hmm.
At the very end of that pier, there's 2 individuals sitting there.
What do you make of them, Jadel?
I say it is freezing. They seem to just be sitting. Doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I mean, as you guys are standing here, you guys can feel that wind coming across you. And even some of you who are cold resistant, you can feel it deep inside of your bones, literally freezing you to the core as the sun starts to go down.
I think it's time that we at least seek a little refuge. I'm not liking this.
Let's go into this meat and fish.
Before we
Good.
talk to the speaker?
Get out of the cold.
Aye. Before we
Okay.
talk to the speaker.
You guys walk to the fish and meat. Kind of notice now that the sign is kind of ramshackled. It's hanging partly off of its natural hook, and it's just swinging in the distance. The door itself, partly ajar, which is unnatural for where you are. All the lights have gone off inside of this building at this point, but as you approach, you can see an individual walking around in the background. Actually, two.
In the
You
interior.
make your way through the door. You guys enter?
I'm asking, we can see people in the interior of the building?
You can. You can see one female walking back and forth behind the bar, and another individual sitting at the bar.
And no lights on.
No lights, no.
Interesting.
Well, welcome to Icewind Dale.
The lights are off, and the individuals are inside
And they turned off as we approached.
as we approached.
Kruegall, go ahead and roll me a history check.
I rolled a 2.
Not connecting the dots here. Just seems very odd that they would be sitting in darkness.
Yes, my spines are standing on end. And I am preparing myself mentally to try to reach down and produce some magic if I have to.
Yeah.
And
Begin to ready yourself as you enter through the doorway.
my companions definitely noticed me tensing up.
Okay. We walking in?
Yep, walking in.
Kruegall's
Alright.
behind the big one.
And it's
All right.
like, it's kind of like a step, like it's like large, medium, Papa
Yeah,
bear, Mama bear.
Jadel,
Bear.
they probably can't even see you as you're walking in.
Oh no, I'm kind of like
Um,
looking under maybe Koda's legs.
As the door swings open, you are met with a smile. The lady behind the counter appears to be a high elf of sorts. Her ears are sharp angled. She's wearing a dark green dress, dirtied. Her skin as fair as it'd normally be, but her body is kind of gaunt. Looks like she hasn't eaten much. You look around, and you can see that the countertop on the back portion of this building extends all the way to a staircase. Staircase where you would assume would lead up to the bedrooms. There is several tables and chairs laid amongst, but they are turned over, dusty, dirty, and the stage to the far right seems to be covered in cobwebs.
And the proprietor is smiling at us?
She is smiling at you, and she does greet you. She turns to you, walks to the edge of the counter, and says, "Well, hello there."
Kruegall takes a step backwards and kicks the door closed with his foot and casts dancing lights.
Oh, thank you for shutting the door. It is getting mighty cold. But if you could, the lights upset the Frostmaiden.
Who?
The Frostmaiden, Ariel. She's been tormenting the cities for the last 2 years. One of our sacrifices we've been making is no lights or external warmth in order to appease her.
I have not heard of this rite, and I extinguish dancing lights with my staff.
Yeah, you guys watch as the lights just slowly subside, disappear. She seems pleased. She smiles at all three of you.
Is it warmer in here than it was outside?
It is warmer because of the wind chill, but it's still very, very cold. The average temperature without wind chill is like -40 in Icewind Dale.
And we did not see any smokestacks emitting from any of the
smokestacks.
Yeah.
The other individual at the bar seems to be halfway through a tankard of ale. His face down on the countertop. A red-headed dwarf. Appears to be male. Kind of slumped over with the shield on his back.
You also sacrifice your fires to the Frostmaiden?
Oh yes, anything to appease her. We've been dealing with a lot of trouble as of late, especially when it comes to our food supply. We figure it's probably best to do what we can to keep her off of trying to put us out once and for all. Can I get you guys a drink?
I'll have a honey mead.
A honey mead?
If you have it.
If you were looking for honey mead, you'd have to go one town over. We haven't seen any shipments from good mead in a while. But I can get you just a standard ale if you want.
Have you seen anybody show up in a while? Yes, ma'am, I'll take the ale.
She says support. Not that I can remember. It's been quite some time. Kind of exciting that you've arrived.
We have arrived, and we had heard that we were expected, which we found strange.
Expected?
What do you have that's hot to drink?
I've never seen one of your kind before. Interesting. I didn't think you could talk. Nothing really hot. Most of our individuals live off of ale and flayed chips.
I will take it.
Would you like the food, the flayed chips?
Yes. And the drink.
Okay. I'll get you some. And she kind of bustles underneath the countertops, still involved in conversation with you. She looks to you, Kruegall, and says, I haven't caught any of your names. You say we were expecting you, but I haven't heard anything.
I am Jadel Tsudune. At your acquaintance.
Pleased to meet you, Jadel. Not much meat on your bones. You're kind of small.
He kind of stands up, kind of
Puffs out your chest.
small. I can do any task that any other man can do, and maybe any Minotaur.
Oh, dang. That is quite the proposition. Are you the adventuring sword?
We are.
Well, I do know that the speaker is looking for individuals to help the town. We've been plagued by a recent frost giant in the area.
Frost giants. My specialty.
Oh. Very impressive.
Who is this
would-
speaker you speak of?
Oh, Edgar Demut. He runs the town. You said you saw two individuals outside, or a group of individuals?
We saw several figures outside as if they were unaffected by cold. It's two small children and two figures out at the end of the pier. Can I see the pier from here?
Yes, on the far side there's a window that looks out to the pier.
Can I see the figures through that window?
Yes, still where they were before. She says, chances are they were playing games with you. Ethan and Edwin are a little rebellious teenage boys, so. And then she catches you looking out at the pier. And she says, oh, they've been there a while.
Who are they?
In a while.
Oh yes, quite some time.
It's cold though.
Oh, oh, you mistake them for being living. They're not alive. They're just at the end of the pier.
But they are not alive.
Oh no, we just left them there.
Are they frozen in place?
Aye.
I kind of like scoot closer to Kruegall.
Would you like some food as well, Jadel?
I kind of peeks up over at the counter. Haven't had an ale in years.
No ale. How do you survive out here?
Through focus, through patience.
Is the food fresh?
The food is relatively fresh. It was cooked the other day.
How do you cook your food with no fires?
Oh, we do create occasional fires between the hours of 10 to 12. We run the furnaces, but we try to keep it to a minimum. Just enough to survive.
For Ariel.
I'm sorry?
For the Frostmaiden.
Aye. Ariel is very relentless. Ever since she's came, I have to say this town has experienced nothing but hardship. Our natural resource, the knucklehead trout, has actually been harder and harder to find around here.
It's because of your frozen lake?
Yeah. Pretty much. You would have to cut through the lake to try to fish, and as you can see, and she points at the people down at the dock, most people freeze before they even manage to get any.
So they freeze while they, or they wait while they freeze while they wait while they freeze, and just die?
Probably a combination of both. I mean, your options are you could either starve or you could freeze trying to provide a meal for your family. It's only recently we secured this new method of making food.
New method.
Did anyone give them a proper ritual?
A ritual?
Yes, they died.
You'll have to
Anyone
excuse our
speak
friend. He's very
words over
religious.
them?
We gave him Ariel's blessing, yes. As you are, have you started to eat yet, Koda?
Did the food come?
She placed
it.
She did place it on the counter, yeah. And same with you, Jadel.
Yeah, I mentioned that I hadn't had an ale in some time.
Okay.
How does the fish look?
It looks almost like a triangular piece of burnt meat.
Meat.
Yes. And it does appear to be seasoned and stuff, but it doesn't look particularly appetizing.
I pick it up and I smell it. Does it smell good?
It smells like a strong seasoning.
I take a bite into it.
You're expecting this to be like crunchy, but instead it is a almost a gamey meat as it enters your mouth. She does turn to you, Jadel, and she pours you a drink and pushes it across the counter, and then looks to you, Kruegall, kind of gesturing if you want anything.
I'm fine, thanks.
Jadel grabs the glass off the top.
All right, just pour it down. There are stools, so if you wanted to sit up to the
get up there?
countertop,
Okay.
Yeah, you could, especially as a monk.
Yeah.
Kruegall takes his seat on a stool next to Jadel and does not drink his ale yet.
I take a sip and I kind of scoot it back up, and then just kind of grab the top of the stool and just kind of hop up, and then hop up top, and then
A loud, almost screeching of the stool as you pull it and you get up onto it, echoes and reverberates through the rather empty lodge. The gentleman at the end of the counter actually turns his head and looks at all of you, kind of half drunken in a stupor.
Oh, he woke up?
He did, yes. But he's
You-
kind of drooling all over himself.
He was asleep when we came in.
Mm.
Yeah?
He woke
Yes,
up.
uh-huh.
The chair must have woke him up. Hold it.
Has Kruegall ever seen behavior like this outside of a bar that would remind him of anything?
Roll a history check. You've been around. You can roll it with advantage, too.
Hellfire.
14. That's the same roll you got last time with the history check.
This thing's broken. Roll 20's broken.
You do recall that there have been several different attempts to appease the Frostmaiden, none of which, as you ventured through these towns, you have seen any effect. But people in this area are very superstitious. So, while it is weird, their demeanor, it's not weird that they've sacrificed their warmth or their light.
But the demeanor of the salt-labbering fool over there just reminds me of a drunk.
Yeah, he seems like just a typical slobbering drunk dwarf.
And but I took notice when he looked at us, and I'm looking back at him kind of hard.
Yes, his eyes are kind of in a glaring state at all three of you.
Kruegall, I think we might have a problem.
I was thinking the same. I turn to the bartender and say, I didn't catch your name.
Oh, my name? My name is Delilah Deha.
Delilah, I'm very fascinated in your religious observations in town.
Why is that?
I've heard of other towns trying such appeasement methods to the Frostmaiden, but I have never seen it be successful.
Oh, well, it depends on where you look. I mean, recently we have procured a new stream of food. So, I view it as a blessing from the Frostmaiden.
But you seem to be just comfortable with this way of life. This is not right.
Kruegall takes a really hard look at Koda's plate.
All right. You're looking at his meal?
Yeah.
Really looking at
Okay.
it.
All right. You look down at the meal and you can see that it is some sort of smoked meat almost that probably wasn't smoked all the way through.
New food source. He's whispering now to Jadel. What do you make of this food source?
They're waiting to cook under some different circumstances. It's got to be difficult. And they've only come up with this type of meat. What is the source of the meat?
Kruegall turns back to Delilah and says, So you believe your appeasement to the Frostmaiden has been rewarded by this new food source. Is that correct?
Aye. Frostmaiden always provides if you are willing to sacrifice for her.
Interesting.
Take it from me. I have sacrificed my 2 children to the Frostmaiden.
How does it taste, Koda?
Koda stops eating at this moment. And one of Koda's hobbies and traits that a trait that he learned was cooking. He cooked for himself, he cooked for people on the farm, and he's gonna do a little cooking check here. Does he think he knows what this meat is?
So
It didn't taste.
I would say-
it didn't taste like any meat he recognized.
Koda, you recognize. Oh god, you guys are so paranoid about this beat. All right, you recognize that.
Kruegall is paranoid about everything.
Clearly, you recognize that it is heavily based in fat. Thus, it is hard to cook through. You don't quite recognize what it could be, but the bartender doesn't seem too worried about it. She does notice you guys is focused on the meals, and she says, "Did you say that you were able to cook out loud, Koda, or no?"
I didn't say it out loud. Saying,
Okay, just kind of.
I was saying it in general that's one of my traits that I
Okay.
or hobbies or skills that I've learned over the years.
Yeah, you're not certain. It is heavily seasoned, like I said.
I push my plate and I push it all the way in front of the dwarf. And maybe he would enjoy this more. This isn't to my appetite, young lady.
Are you talking about the one at the end of the bar who's slobbering?
Yeah, I push it all the way down to him. And no offense, young lady. He can have my meal.
He kind of rises to his stature on the stool before you, pushes his shoulders back, and turns to you and says, "What, you don't like my cooking?" And you can see now that he's kind of set up. He's wearing like an apron and it is blood stained.
It's not your cooking. I'm more used to eating vegetables.
Makes sense. Most cows eat vegetables.
I've heard that joke before.
He grabs a handful of the chips for you and he just stuffs them in his mouth. What on earth are you all doing here?
Not eating like a cow.
We've come to have a word with your speaker.
Speaker's around in the morning time. Getting a little cold for him to be out. Kind of a well-fed, stuffed individual. Not one to brave the cold.
Seems you don't like him.
Seems like no one likes him. And he looks to the bartender and she just says, I didn't say that.
Why doesn't anyone like him? Is he a bastard?
He's a coward. He's not willing to act. See, these people were starving, and then I came up with the plan to keep this village alive. And thank God I did. Or thank Ariel I did.
What was the plan?
Whatever it was, I'm sure it's fine.
The piercing gaze.
That's right.
I'll tell you about the plan in the morning. Come on by the different forges and stoves we have up on the hill.
We'll be there, friend.
Sounds good to me. In the meantime, if you do speak with the speaker, see about getting this bartender's children back.
Where are they?
Sacrificed.
Oh, well, I don't quite know. They were around the village and then they were gone, so I assume the Frostmaiden took them.
And you're not concerned?
Well, I mean, I can't argue with a god.
No.
We
You
just
really can't.
we saw two children on the way in.
Oh, those are the speaker's children.
And they've been expecting us, so perhaps we should take our leave and go and find this speaker.
Okay. Well, if you must, I'll be here all night. If you need a
Allowing our younger, smaller friend to finish his ale if he likes.
Jadel downs this drink. I feel like you don't drink very often, so you can go ahead and roll my
I
constitution
don't.
check.
I actually don't. No. I actually haven't had a drink in 10 years.
Dang.
Was it a vow or something that you had to take?
I'll have
It
you know, a
was.
lot of people die from being drunk in the snow.
Hey, now I'm scared.
Yeah.
So it was a 8.
Got 8. All right. Let's just say you are feeling the buzz, and you're not sure what that means right now, but you feel like you get another one, you'd be put down for the night.
Do we notice he's a little tipsy?
Jadel, are you able to keep your composure?
No.
Please tell me you have the drunken master feat.
Actually, I have lucky. That's actually something that this one that I just got allows me to do. With 15. So maybe I'm. I used to. I did drink in my past. So, but again, it's been a while.
Yeah. You aren't underage kid drinking alcohol. You have had a beer or two in your
Kinda
lifetime,
like-
so you hold yourself together. You guys stand up. You guys are walking where now? Speakers, you
To
said?
the
Speaker's
speakers, I guess.
house. We would have gotten directions from the barkeep.
Back down the pier.
Okay. Yeah, she's very friendly about it. She tells you it's, right at the beginning
It was
of
at
the
the
pier.
front of the pier. We passed it on the way in, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We thought we recognized that that's what it was, but I just had
Yeah.
this
Where
eerie
would,
feeling that steered me away from it.
Mhm.
We know we're supposed to go to the speaker's house once we
Yes.
get here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find out why we haven't seen anybody come back.
Where would we find lodging?
Oh, you'd find it here. We have a few rooms up top. You would be best to rent a room together, to be honest with you. It's far too cold to room alone.
For our own one.
More bodies in a room, more warmth.
Yes, that sounds fine.
What will it cost?
Well, you are the first visitors I've had in a while, so we'll say the first night's free.
Oh, thank you. What do we owe you for the food and the drink?
Well, 3 coppers, fine.
I put 5 down. Thank you.
She kind of just leaves it there. She goes about her business.
Was that for all of our?
That was for all of us. I believe.
Go get the next round, friend.
Cheaper than I remember.
Does strike you odd that it was that cheap.
We are the first visitors she's had in months.
We're outside the tavern.
Hey, Koda, go ahead and roll a history check.
Yeah.
Actually, all of you.
We're all
can.
outside now, yeah.
We
talking
stepped
about
outside back into the cold to talk about it.
it. Yeah. 14.
Whoops, I rolled the wrong thing.
It's okay. I'll take the roll though. Plus your mod. All right. Who rolled the best? Koda. Koda, when you were
So I
sent
rolled a
this way-
3.
Yes. Or wait, yeah, Koda. When you were sent this way, you remember that you were told people were coming to this town and not returning. In fact, when you guys stopped through Goodmead, you even were given a piece of information that the usual shipments that came from this town have stopped.
Good meat is who sent us here, is that right?
You came from East Haven, but
East
their maid is
Haven.
on the way. And yeah, none of the information that you were given is anything she talked about.
Yeah.
Seems very strange.
Something's wrong here. I am to get to the bottom of it.
I think we might be concerned for the other adventurers that may have came here. I wonder if this speaker is to blame.
I wonder as well. Or perhaps this cook.
He didn't seem all too pleasant.
No, he wasn't. He was
He called
not-
you a cow.
That he did. He's lucky. He's very lucky I was able to contain myself.
I think we were all lucky.
I think we should talk to this speaker. Try to make some sense of all of this.
After you, Koda. He's living right over here at the end of the pier.
As we walk by,
Beginning of the pier.
because we're probably really close to it, as we were going, from the fish and meat back to the speaker's house. As we're walking by, does anything stand out about the house? Like, does anything look out of place?
Roll a perception check.
Let's see what we do here.
Natural 1. seems the alcohol has taken effect, Jadel.
Apparently, roll 20 notes.
You, at this point, people have boarded up their buildings. They have set in for the night because of the sun going down. It's getting dark. In fact, it's kind of getting hard to even see at this point. So you don't see anything out of the ordinary at this point. Even the 2 children that were out here are gone.
Maybe I start looking at like the other house that's across the alley. And it's just like it's not the house that we're looking for. Just kind of like,
You guys head towards the speaker's
Come
place?
this way, ma'am. Come this way, small friend.
oh,
Yeah, we head towards the speaker.
Grab his tunic and show him that we're walking sort of towards the northwest. And I knock on the speaker's front door and then step behind the Minotaur.
Everyone's going to use Koda as a bodyguard.
again.
Yeah, but I might not be the one to do the talking.
I just want Koda to be the first thing he sees.
All right, you knock on the door. It's a double door that opens outward. It's wooden. It's almost like a Viking hall, the way it's kind of structured on the outside. You can see as you knock, you hear footsteps coming towards, and you can hear one of the children's voices. They've came.
These are the ones that were expecting us, I whisper to my friends.
Think so. Hello.
Did they open the door?
Not yet.
He says it through the door.
They haven't opened the door yet.
Oh, well, I heard whispers behind the door.
Knock again.
With that, one of the kids cracks open the door, and it's the one with the missing lips. He looks up at you, says, "Hi."
Hello.
You were expecting us?
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, you're
Maybe
not
you
the
want
first.
to invite us in.
Oh, sure. Come on in. He cracks open the door, and he kind of curtsies away as he opens the door. This building
Which one was
has,
this, Ethan or Edwin?
Sorry, one more time?
Was it Ethan or Edwin?
You're not sure which one. It
Okay.
is one of those 2 children, yes. This building has almost like a church structure to it. There's steeples for citizens to come and air their regards. At the front or the back is a podium, and can't see anyone else in the room necessarily now. But as you all start to gather inside and close the door behind you, a rather bulky individual rounds the corner. He's dressed in leather garments with multiple furs wrapped around him. Seems to be a well-fed, well-bearded human male. And he says, "Welcome to our town."
I tap my staff lightly against the floor and cast dancing lights, but this time they just remain at the top of the staff instead of flying out into the room.
I see you don't fear the maiden.
Sort of concealed that just illuminates my face and maybe 20 feet around me.
All right. So you guys can see Kruegall's face. It is dark in this building, but there are windows up at the top, so you can get that little last bit of sunlight coming through.
I am not very religious, friend.
Shame.
At least,
Why have you come to our town?
At least not for the pantheon of gods that men have created.
Well, a real isn't in your normal pantheon. She kind of is a certain god to our area, isn't she not?
She is the god of winter and snow, if I'm not mistaken.
What were you going to say, Joe?
Is his candor towards us friendly?
You can see he's kind of like, given the other two people you saw in the town, they were gone and malnourished, and even those two children that you saw looked almost malnourished.
No lips.
He is this hulking figure who looks well fed and is like carrying himself robustly, almost like an aggressive biker demeanor. As he waltzes around. He does not seem very inviting, but he is curious.
We have come to your town to offer aid should we need it. We have stopped receiving supplies and exports from this town, so we have come in investigation to see that everything is okay.
If you're wondering as to why you've stopped receiving exports, it's because we are haunted by two winter wolves that keep circling around our town, killing any of our citizens as we leave.
You say the winter wolves are the problem, but do you not see that this area is also equal a problem to you, if not greater?
How do you have enough supplies to eat and so forth if the winter wolves have cut off your supply chain?
Good question. We get a slow stream of creatures that come in, and we have to execute them.
What kind of creatures?
Oh, these people. Different animals in the northern area. The wolves tend to drive them into here.
Seems maybe a bit of fortune.
I think it's the Frostmaiden's doing. Keeping us alive slowly but surely and defending us from the outsiders with these winter wolves.
How long since you have had visitors such as ourselves?
About a month ago. They were brought down by those wolves.
Well, we're awfully sorry about your wolf problem, Mr. Speaker.
I've been well aware of your Frostmaiden's basis over this land for quite some time, as I've been here in the north for a while. But I've never realized that it has come to this, where you don't light a fire to keep warmth, where you don't have the proper food.
Well, unfortunately for us, we are the smallest, or one of the smallest of the 10 towns in the area. We don't get much assistance from East Haven or Brent Shander, so we are left to our own devices.
It seems that East Haven has actually sent you some assistance, friend.
Really?
Wait.
That would be us.
They sent us.
If that is true, then perhaps you can help. I don't have much faith in outsiders as of recent, as they've been slayed, killed, and gnawed on by those wolves. But perhaps you can deal with that issue. And maybe we can open up trade to Goodmead once again.
Where are the wolves normally sighted?
Well, I can assure you this. If you were to adventure outside of this little town in the mornings, chances are they will try to find you. Or you could look for their tracks in the middle of the night, but a little foolhardy if you ask me.
We could look for the tracks. I'm used to this area.
Perhaps we should wait until the next daylight, such as it is.
Yes.
I mean, I could always use magic to light our way, but it might infuriate the Frostmaiden.
A lot of talk of this Frostmaiden.
I thought you said you weren't religious.
I am quite religious.
Yes, my friend here, I try to respect his religion.
Well, either way, you all have begun to bore me. So if you could leave my chambers so I can get on with my night.
It's very grateful of you.
You're welcome.
Do I see a dead hearth anywhere?
A dead hearth? Yeah, there's behind the podium there is a hearth.
And not lit.
Not lit.
Okay.
Kruegall turns to take his leave, opening the door to the winds outside.
As you look back, Kruegall, you kind of can see into the two chambers on the left and the right of the building. The doors are swung open, and you can see multiple women kind of walking around in each of those chambers. Those two kids running around, playing around, and the three women you do see, two on the right side and one on the left, they all appear to be pregnant.
He looks back at his friends and he says, "One more thing, Mr. Speaker. Your children said that you had been expecting us. What did they mean by that?"
Children get excited when visitors arrive. It's kind of a game for them. Watch you all scatter about, die, or freeze out on the lake looking for food.
Seems you almost welcome it.
I've accepted it. And you do best to accept your fate too.
Okay. That satisfies my curiosity quite enough.
Seems though the people at the lake, it's a pretty sad way to die.
Apparently it happens quite often.
Before we leave, I'm the women piqued my interest. I was gonna see, is there anything else that we can discern before, like as we're walking out, maybe?
They piqued mine as well, but I was trying to be nonchalant about it.
Roll a perception check for both of you.
Oh, goodness.
That's a bit better.
9.
21.
Oh, rolling with the god.
Right.
Kruegall, since you are the first one to see it, kind of look at all three of the women.
And
they
do it
all look
very nonchalantly, like I don't recognize them as I do recognize them.
Right. You look across them, and you notice that all three of the women look very similar in appearance. All with dark hair, all humans, like short 5'6" stature, all wearing a green dress. They don't appear to be held there against their will. They're kind of going about their business. But you do notice that they're very similar.
I'm probably when you're trying to not look like you're looking at something, but you're clearly looking at something, and they notice. I think that's what happened to me.
Yeah, Jadel, as you're looking towards them, one of them makes awkward eye contact with you.
Kruegall plays it cool and pulls his hood a little bit down lower over his eyes as he goes to leave.
All right, you guys head out of the building.
Koda bends down to duck under the door and puts his horns out first. His torso, his body and torso, and wraps his cloak around himself.
You guys are all wrapped up in winter clothes. You can bear a decent amount of this weather as you're going between buildings, but as the sun has dissipated at this point, you guys are starting to feel that cold chill down your spine.
And we make back for the meat and fish. At least Kruegall does, since he's in front.
Fish and meat.
Fish and meat. You write that down.
Yep, we head back.
You come in, and she is still behind the counter, kind of cleaning up. The butcher has left, and she welcomes you back. Would you care for multiple rooms or one?
We'll take the single.
Okay.
She leads you up the stairs. They are not well kept. Every step that you take is creaking. You come across the small section of the staircase, and as you do, you notice a few floorboards are missing. You have to step over it. You walk up. There's 3 rooms, and the center room is the biggest one. You open it up, and there's 2 beds in there. No other furnishing.
You two can have the bed. I'm used to sleeping wherever I can.
I heard that your kind sleeps standing up. Is that true?
Just sticks his horns in the ceiling and stands up all night.
That is very untrue.
Well, Kruegall takes one of the beds and nods and thank you for giving it up for him, and he begins to look at the two of you and wonders if we can talk freely about what we might think's going on here.
I take my pack off. And, I'm just gonna sleep in my armor. And I wrap myself up. And I actually put my back against the door.
Okay. Yeah, it does open inward, so you can do that definitely.
Having a bed, it is something that Jadel is pretty excited about. So he hops in and like just takes every bit of his pack. You know, if they, like he had like I'm pretty sure he had his cloak. He had that wrapped up in him, and then if there was anything else, he'd just try to like cuddle.
All right, so Jadel's excited about the bed. I'm guessing they didn't have beds at the monastery.
It wasn't. I think maybe even just being out here, in the desolate, is like being inside. The sting has been really getting to Jadel, so he's trying to relinquish that.
of enjoying the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It seems the speaker says the wolves are the problem.
I think the speaker's full of shit, just between you and me, big man.
I as
He's the
well.
problem.
I think their god is the problem.
He's very overfed. Did you notice how his people go wanting, and he is very fat? That is typical of a despot. I have seen it before.
And he has 3 women.
I've noticed that too. Something strange is happening here.
And
Not-
another thing to point out is they were all dressed the same. Odd.
Did you notice they were pregnant?
Oh, I noticed. I think they noticed me noticing.
Definitely
Looks
did.
like the speaker keeps himself warm on cold nights.
And fed.
So he has 3 human cubs brewing in 3 separate mothers, while our proprietor friend downstairs lost her children. Does that strike anybody as interesting?
I think the more interesting point is, where's the meat coming from?
He said it was from game. You both tasted it.
But-
What did you think?
It didn't. Well, what did you think? Did you think
I
it?
think they're eating the babies.
Jadel, did you think the meat tasted any different?
I didn't taste it.
You didn't taste it. Well, I did, and it didn't taste like anything I've ever had.
Didn't look like anything I've ever seen.
But I will tell you this: there's another strange occurrence here. That she lost her children, and she said something to the effect, "I sacrificed."
It is a human ritual that some cults will human sacrifice their own young to appease their gods.
My God would never do that.
Nor mine.
It saddens me that they are so easily able to break from their family, or at least it seems that it's easy for them.
I'd say let's kill these wolves if we can find them and get on his good side and then see what is true. See if we can flush out his true motives.
We will have to do it in daylight.
How long until the sun comes up, Deanne?
Well, the sun comes up at 10 a.m. So it is about 5 o'clock now.
Mhm.
So
Is there a hearth in the room?
there is a hearth, yes, in between the 2 beds.
Kruegall goes to see if there's any kindling or tinder to start a fire with.
This man, reckless thing. So, on the side of the fireplace, there are several logs that appear to be gathered there. Haven't been used in a while. You could definitely start a fire if you wanted to.
I do want to. I take out my tinder box and I easily click some sparks into the kindling and watch it start to glow and smoke.
Are there windows in this room?
In this room, no. So, you light up a fire.
I get it roaring too. It really is, I've got my fuel for the night rationed out, and I've got the biggest fire made that I possibly can to
And
last us daylight.
Once you've done that, I actually hop out from the bed with all of my stuff wrapped up around me, and I get over to the bed or next to the fire.
As it starts to warm us, I take my hood down.
Yeah, you can feel the brazen heat coming across onto you. It's the first warmth you've had in a long time. Feels incredible. Nothing is happening yet. It's no response from you.
Was I expecting one?
I don't know. I don't know if you
We
are.
know of the Frostmaiden. We do know, and we've been told multiple times of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but would they intrude on our privacy and tell us how to act in our own private room?
We don't know.
They can move the Minotaur by the door.
I think our biggest concern is the smoke coming from above. Is this okay by the town standards?
It's very dark. I doubt they'll be able to notice it.
They might
Well-
smell it, though.
They might smell it.
Don't get me wrong. I am very pleased.
But if somebody's out at this time of the night,
Would they be able to smell it in their own domiciles with the windows and such boarded up? I don't believe so.
only if they're in the streets.
Only if they're in the streets, and it seems that most of the ones that are in the streets at this hour are dead. And I lean back on the bed. Get comfy.
You leave the fire burning.
If he did, I would probably fall asleep next to it. Yeah.
All right. The three of you fall asleep. Koda brace against the door. The fireplace emanating that bright light, warmth from its. You awaken. You guys went to bed at 5 o'clock?
We probably talked for a little while,
Yeah, we talked a few hours, I think.
Yeah.
and then we probably broke open maybe our own rations.
Okay. So I'll say that you guys stayed up for a while, and then you went to bed. And
Stayed
it's
up
about
listening to see if any reaction would come from the town about our chimney.
Correct. And there was no reaction. You actually wake up to the hearth kind of died down.
I stoke it a little bit more with whatever's left of the wood.
And it is becoming morning time. It's probably about 7 a.m.
We still have several hours before light.
Are you guys sticking in your room?
Is there a reason to go out?
Yeah, I think we would stay in the room.
Yeah. It's cold out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
You all right?
It's warm
So
in
let's
here.
expedite it. Expedite it to 10 a.m. You can feel the temperature rising. And as you open up the door, you can see the light beginning to crest.
There it is, friends. That sweet, sweet twilight.
This
Haven't
is
seen
our
the sun in
cue,
2
is it?
years.
Is it not?
Yes, we should go. The wolves will probably be. I don't know. I'd imagine some wolves hunt at night. Wolves could be
Edgar.
bedding down.
We must investigate. If this is
Do
what
I-
we are tasked
do-
with.
Do I know the behavior of the local Arctic creatures, etc.? I am local to the area.
I would say you and Koda probably have the most knowledge about it. Typically, wolves and wild animals hunt at night.
I believe Edgar told us they usually show themselves to the north of town. Is that correct?
So we'll head north.
Yes.
This is
We should head north and look for tracks, try to find their lair or their burrow, as it were.
this is towards Goodmead, is it not?
Northwest would not be towards Goodmead. It would be kind of in the wilderness.
Oh, okay, got it.
As you guys are talking at the top of the stairs, you can hear a ruckus going on downstairs. You hear several plates hit the ground and something go clear across the building and some shouting.
We might need to get down there.
This is clearly not our affair.
Are you sure?
No.
What do we hear as far as the shouting? What is being said?
The only thing you could pick up is what sounds to be a dwarven voice going, "What the bloody hell you mean they're gone?"
Yes, friends, maybe we should investigate this man. He does not sit well with me.
Stand.
Yeah, I guess we'll head downstairs.
I head down and
I follow Koda.
with my chest puffed out and my horns up, and I walk down the stairs. And using my imposing presence, Minotaur ability, helps my intimidation. I stand to intimidate a few people while I'm standing there, and I say, "What do you mean they're gone?"
As you come down the stairs and you're giving this aura of intimidation, the face turns to you, and what you thought would be a threat, you actually notice that this person is an individual you saw in Goodmead, just a local. He appears to be donned up with armor, a shield, and a mace, and he's right now appears to be just laying it into the barkeep.
All three of us recognize him?
Yeah.
From Goodmead?
Yes. You recognize him as Ermin Hall. He was just a local that you happened across on the way, but he seems furious at the moment. He looks to you, and he does stumble back, Koda, just out of natural fear from someone so large coming across him. And he says, "Friends, I was looking for you."
We've been upstairs in our room. What news have you?
This blasted lady told me that you all up and left.
I don't know what would give her that idea. We checked in for a free night in her establishment. And I turn to the bartender as well.
Delilah kind of looks up at all of you and says, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I thought you left already. Strange."
We were about to go hunting. Care to join us?
I'm looking for my friends. 2 individuals that came here.
So he's looking for a different party other than us.
Aye.
We saw 2 individuals in the dark walking about.
We saw 2 individuals at the edge of the pier, not walking about.
Okay, not walking.
Stationary, and I believe if I look out the tavern window, I might still see them there.
As you look, they are gone. Two individuals. What did they look like?
They looked dead. We did not get a good look at their face.
They were
This
sitting.
gentleman,
Yes, but they were down at the end of the docks.
But sitting at the end.
sitting at the end of the docks, dead.
Well, my friends came here a few days ago to see what was going on, and they have yet to return. So, I would like an explanation. Or I'm going door to door to knock down each side building until I find them.
Kruegall looks really hard at the people he's questioning.
The bartender, Delilah, is actually the only one in this bar besides all of you.
The
So she's
bartender,
terribly-
so the cook is not there? The dwarven cook?
The butcher is gone, yep.
Okay.
She says, "I'm terribly sorry. I've been having trouble with my memory lately, and I do not know where your friends have gone." You hit her with the crossbow. What are you doing?
I didn't mean to click my iPad, sorry.
Okay.
You just killing an innocent bartender with memory issues?
No,
That's
Kruegall
it.
does nothing. Kruegall does nothing but look at her. He does not shoot his crossbow at her.
All right. So they kind of go back and forth. They're just shouting at each other. And at this point, it's getting redundant, the conversation they're having. He ends up getting so frustrated, he tosses over one of the stools that's quite larger than him, and he turns around and starts heading for the exit. It says, "I'm gonna find out what's going on here."
We should keep an eye on him.
Do we watch him go, or do we offer to help him?
We need to head out of town. Maybe we keep an eye on him as we head out.
We'll track him as long as we are able, and before losing scent of or losing any.
Maybe we should tell
prospect of
him
finding the woods.
that we'll be back, and he could meet us back in the tavern.
Kruegall goes to grab him by his shoulder before he storms out and says, "We wish to aid you in your endeavor, but we need to take care of some business first."
Well, in the meantime, I'll start asking questions of these local folk.
Find out what you can. We'll be back shortly. Hopefully by the time the sun goes back down.
Don't go missing like my other two friends.
We don't plan on it.
He gives you a solemn nod. Says, Ari, I'll be with you. And he starts to walk through the alleyway.
Makes
down
you
there.
assume I worship Ariel.
Don't we all worship Ariel?
I don't. And I don't even like her ways. Freezing her people. Starving her people. Those are not my ways. Those are not my God's ways.
You will have to excuse our friend. He is not from here.
Understandable, Koda.
I've
but
lived here long enough to understand some of their ways, and I disagree with them.
Sometimes you are forced into worship, and that is how I feel. We make the best of what we have, you and I both. In the meantime, we have to look out for one another. That's why I came here.
You be careful.
I will.
Strange
You
things
too.
amok here.
Yes, this town is not all that it seems, we're afraid.
I'll be fine. Be safe.
You as well.
And he turns around, starts walking down the alleyway, and he's looking for anyone outside their house at this point.
And we will go north.
Start marching north.
Mm-hmm.
Behind
All right.
the Minotaur.
Behind the Minotaur.
I feel like you guys should just start riding the Minotaur at this point.
Right. I considered it. I've
I could
considered
hang
it
off
a couple times.
hang off my horns.
Koda, one person in each arm.
Yep.
I do not need assistance walking through the snow. I've been doing it all my life, but this one here may want to ride on top of your horns.
Do you want a halfling on top of your head?
It's actually an oversized halfling too.
Yeah.
How much do you weigh?
41 pounds.
41 pounds.
Yeah.
I can put you up on my shoulders.
I'm
Hold on to
kinda
my
husky.
horns. The snow here might be deep.
The best thing about playing halfling characters is riding other characters.
It's like a kid with their dad at the mall or
Yeah.
something. On his shoulders.
Yeah.
A couple things to note. You are up at the 10 a.m. Slot, and you can see that a few of the chimneys have been lit.
Now that it's day.
Yeah, now that it's day, it looks
Because
like they
it's
are
in the
burning.
proper chimney hours.
Yes, and designated burn times. You guys start to walk north, and taking the little trail that they have out there, and it isn't long before you actually notice right away that there is wolf tracks kind of circling the town in a like outer rim kind of pattern.
Koda was going to
Koda.
use a survival check to discern if they're fresh tracks or old tracks.
Kruegall is going to try to find where they lead from.
Okay, go ahead and roll a survival as well, Kruegall.
Jadel is along for the ride.
I say Jadel's pretty high up there.
I'm outlook. I'm making sure they're not coming from afar. There we go.
These.
Did you get a roll from me?
Yeah,
I'm not seeing the roll on roll 20.
It did
you
come
might
up.
just be in the.
That's why I did 2.
You might be in the journal. I don't know.
No. I'm gonna
Okay.
refresh it. I'm just gonna refresh it. Maybe it'll fix.
What you do notice is that the tracks that are circling have kind of filled up with snow at this point. And there is a fresher trail that kind of leads back and up into the northwest. Looks to be a single wolf's tracks.
But the speaker said there were 2. I found 1.
There was 2. This is correct.
Maybe he died.
Perhaps there is only
Maybe
1
he
now.
perfectly disappeared.
Not betting on that.
Let's
Not in 10 towns.
Let's follow the trail cautiously.
All right. You guys begin to follow the path, uncertain how long it's going to be, but you imagine in the back of your head, probably not 2, because these wolves come here every night. And as you are walking, who is the... Actually, Jadel, you're on top of the Minotaur. You can roll perception.
Yep. Not bad.
Not bad.
16.
Not bad at all. Okay. 16. Jadel, as you're at top of this Minotaur, you're kind of like looking over the horizon. Kruegall is down looking for tracks, giving his best legless impression. As you guys are walking through this winterscape, Jadel, you see a wolf in the distance, and it appears to be limping. It's kind of going across in front of you, and it's like limping on 3 legs rather than 4.
I tap on Koda's head. I see one. It looks injured.
Koda, you feel the tap from Jadel.
It does look injured. It does look injured. Yes.
He might be able to surprise it. But
You have
first,
to be careful. There might be more.
why is it injured?
That is a good question.
And then looking down at Kruegall, what do you think?
Seems as though maybe somebody got to the wolves before us, killed one, injured the second. But who?
And still nearby.
Strangely, he said there were more wolves.
He said there were 2 great white wolves. We found one of them hurt and only 1 pair of tracks leading away from the town this morning.
DM, are there any other tracks near this wolf that I can see without getting too close to the wolf?
It's been a little bit, so I'll let you roll another survival check just to kind of look around. Actually, perception. You're kind of just looking... Or, yeah, what's your perception modifier?
A 2.
2. So, looking around, you don't see anything in the area. But what you guys do notice as you're deliberating on what to do is from that area you hear a very strange sound. It sounds like help, but Jadel, from where you're looking at it, it looked like it came from the wolf. Said it.
I think I just heard a voice.
Be more specific, lad.
He said, help, but it seemed like it was coming from the direction of the wolf.
I think it was just the wind.
Oh, like I'm hearing things.
We'll see what's
You hear it?
We'll
You
see
hear it again.
We'll see what's happening.
Help!
He was-
That's it. It is real.
Do the
it
rest
is
of us
certain.
hear it?
We should approach the wolf then.
Starts approaching you.
Oh,
Can it talk?
Jadel.
Help!
Jadel is.
Can
Got
either
it.
two of you talk to beasts? It seems to speak common.
I would imagine Beast could talk to Beast.
Oh,
Oh.
seems I can't talk to this beast.
Ah.
Kruegall yells out to it, "Ho there! Can you talk?
I
Speak
can.
common? It speaks common.
Help me.
Help you with what? Are you injured?
Yes. It like holds its like lipped up leg up. Says coming closer and closer.
I get behind the Minotaur.
What? What?
Dude, I can't handle this Minotaur thing.
I'm riding it.
what?
This
What?
every 2 seconds.
I provide good cover. What did this to you?
My master,
Who is your
the
master?
frost giants.
Oh, frost giant.
How are you harmed?
He beats me whenever he can, and whenever I can't find him food.
Where's your mate?
My mate.
There are two of you.
There are two of you, we've heard.
I don't know.
We have struck a bargain with the speaker of the town nearby to come and kill you.
Well, that's not nice.
Where's the other one?
What are you rolling for?
Intimidation.
Jadel's gonna help.
15.
I'll roll for intimidation also.
I am
I'm holding
posing
my sword.
presence,
I'm holding my sword on top of a Minotaur.
but I'm probably not as
Halfling
imposing.
stand-
I'm probably not as imposing as the frost giant.
All right, you guys make a group intimidation check as you're all kind of getting aggressive. And she falls over on her hurt leg, and she says, "Ow!"
I could help.
What do you want?
We want
I'm gonna
information.
help this thing.
I could help you.
Tell us, White Wolf, how is it that you can talk and speak in common?
I was cursed by a druid when I was young.
Would you
So
like
was
Who's this druid?
So was
my brother, who I assume you're calling my mate.
your brother then. Your pack mate is what I meant.
I don't know who this druid was, but we've been under the control of Kruegall the whole time.
Would you like us to put you out of your misery?
Why would I want you to put me out of my misery? Help me.
Where's this Kruegall?
He's in an old, human fortress of some site.
Yeah.
If you could carry me, I would show you where it's at.
It's nearby.
Insight check.
Oh. Inside check? Alright.
Yes.
Inside check. Roll that bad boy. Critical one.
Eh.
You think this wolf is on the up and up.
Let's help
Everything is
it.
good.
Let's help it. And Kruegall goes to pick up the wolf. How big is the wolf?
Pretty fucking
Yeah,
huge.
it's a winter wolf, right?
It's a winter wolf. It's a size, I believe, large.
I'd like to try to help it mend its leg if all possible.
Okay. You have any healing? Oh, yeah, you do.
I don't
No,
have any
you don't.
healing,
Cleric does.
but we have a cleric. I
Koda,
beseech
do.
the cleric to heal the wolf.
Koda kneels down and lets Jadel off his
Yeah.
horns and tells the wolf lay down and put the wolf on his side, on her side, and a glowing golden light comes off of my hand, and I do a healing word.
Okay. Okay, you watch as the golden light radiates from your hand and kind of infuses itself into the fur. And the wolf stretches out its leg. And Koda, go ahead and make me an insight check. Or a medicine check, whatever your higher modifier is. Okay. You notice the leg she is stretching out and saying, "Oh, feels so much better," is the opposite leg she was limping on. And she gets back up.
Yeah.
And she
Kruegall's
says,
looking
"Ah."
somewhere else. He's not watching.
Yeah, only Koda noticed this.
Kruegall's keeping an eye on the perimeter.
Koda,
Follow me. I'll show you where it's at.
oh, we will follow you, yes. Go ahead, lead the way.
Okay. She hops to her feet. She starts to trudge along. And it almost looks like she's singing to herself as she's going. You guys follow.
Kruegall
you
follows
lay
the
into that
wolf.
information.
Kruegall follows the wolf.
Koda
He has no idea. He's just he's
pulls
ready
out-
to believe
Koda pulls
anything.
out
this
a
thing says.
javelin and launches it at the wolf.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What did this wolf ever do to you?
What did you do that for?
She was lying.
About what?
Oh.
She told me that her right leg was the paw that was hurting, and I healed it, and it was the left leg before she was limping on. She lied.
So javelin flies through the air.
No, the javelin actually strikes her right in the back.
Oh.
Totally unable to dodge it.
6 piercing
You-
damage.
6 damage. Javelin impales itself into the left hindquarters of the wolf, the leg that she was faking to be hurt on, and it kind of sticks out, and she falls back down, and you hear her yell, "Ow!" And she lays there.
I charge forward
She doesn't do anything.
and I said, "What were you lying for?
What do you mean?
You were limping on the other leg."
Now you have something to be crying about.
Pull this thing out of me.
I
That's
grab
the
the javelin and I push it in a little more, and I
Oh my God.
I intimidate.
All right. Go ahead and
Kruegall
roll
just
your
stares at
intimidation.
him wild-eyed, not knowing what to say.
What were you lying about?
Okay. I'll tell you what I'm lying about. The frost giant wants me to bring people to him. He has me held captive. It's part of my daily operations, as he says.
What does he do with them once he receives them?
Oh, he eats you.
Could have guessed that.
I can't blame him.
So you terrorize this village.
I don't terrorize anyone. I lead them to the cave.
people who come to the town.
Of course.
Does the speaker?
Even.
Does the speaker know about this?
I don't know what a speaker is.
The leader of East Haven.
Or
Of,
Dugan's Hold.
Dugan's Hold. I'm sorry.
Dugan's Hold,
Dugan's
yeah.
Hold.
I don't know. I don't know what a leader is.
Well, like your giant.
This wolf has no information about society. It's just a wolf.
Yes,
It happens
it's
to be able to talk. What if it's what it's saying is true? I do suspect the frost giant is in league with the speaker.
Ah. Yes.
Could it be that he's feeding his own people themselves?
Kruegall, as you're talking, you hear a loud panting and a creature running towards you at full pelt, and it yells out. As you look, it looks like the same type of wolf, and it yells out, "Leave her be!"
I turn around and whack it with my quarterstaff.
To do damage. Goddamn abusive party. He just tried to save his sister. All right.
I don't
You-
like liars.
You spin around. He's running a deadbolt for her, so he's not even looking at you. So you spin around. Go ahead and roll damage for that. Yeah,
Whoops,
roll
I hit the
damage.
wrong thing.
Okay.
Well,
It's a-
green flayed blade also goes off, and that's another 4 fire damage plus that.
Don't you have to cast that beforehand?
Yes. I always cast green flame blade on my staff. It's just always up. It's a cantrip.
Okay. I'll give it to you. All right. So as he's running full pelt towards you, he fails to notice, as he's focusing on the Minotaur over the body, that you spun around with your quarterstaff. You hit him. He takes that 7 damage, right?
6.
Okay. And he falls to the ground, and he yells out once again, "Let her go!"
Kruegall pins him to the floor where he's lying with the end of his quarterstaff and demands information.
You both have two. You have basically 2 wolves wrangled on the ground right now.
You got both of them.
We got both of them. And I tell him the same thing that I told his sister. We're on a contract from the speaker to come and kill you. But it seems that we maybe don't have all of the story, so I just suggest you start talking.
I've already told you what's going on. The frost giant makes me and my brother lead people to his hut.
You will lead us to the Frost Giant's hut.
You gotta like stab his back.
And I press on the spear. I press on the javelin a little more. You will lead us to his hut.
Yeah, that's my job.
You will lead us to his hut and tell us how to get. You will lead us to his hut and tell us how to gain advantage on him as we do.
Oh,
Not like the rest of the ones you lead.
oh, okay. I can show you a secret entrance.
There's a secret entrance.
Precisely.
Yeah, of course.
Now we're talking.
All right.
You lead us.
It'll work.
I will heal you. But for now, I will not heal you.
You got yourself a deal, Kyle.
And I'm going to tie a rope around you.
And I tie a rope around mine and a slip knot so that he's on a choker.